As some of you are aware, my boss gives me movies to watch, and then I watch them, and then I talk about them on the channel. And I think a vast majority of these have been A24 films, because he's a huge A24 fan, as am I. And honestly, I think this may be my favorite out of all of the ones he's given me so far. First Reformed was released in 2017. It was written and directed by Paul Schrader. If you don't know what the movie's about, I'll give you the brief overview without any spoilers, which, granted, is going to be a little difficult. Essentially, there's this reverend who works at this church, and he is helping this woman who has a husband who is having a problem with his faith, because the big churches, like the kind of big institutionalized churches, don't want to help the climate, and they're hurting the climate, and like he's confused as to why that's being a problem. So the action really kicks off when that guy kills himself, and he does so in an act of like resilience against climate change, basically. And it's a little bit more complicated than that, but I don't want to get too details into the plot. But then it's about the Reverend trying to figure out if killing himself was the right move, if he should maybe consider killing himself as an act of like resilience against climate change, and whatever. Like it's complicated. It's really complicated, which Paul Schrader movies typically are. And this one had this layer of it that just felt so real and personal. It was like, for me, obviously, I mean, climate change is a big problem. And of course, it's even bigger a problem with the institutionalized people. And then bringing that in, tying it into religion, was a really interesting choice. And it worked really well. Perhaps maybe a little too well. And it did it tastefully, I'll say. Like, it didn't, like bash Christianity. It didn't bash people who don't believe in Christianity either. It was just purely from an outside perspective. Another thing that interests me about this film was it's filmed in a 4:3 aspect ratio. I think it's 4:3. And I normally don't like that when people do that. Wow, it does work here, though. Holy crap, it does work here. Just the way that things look in that frame is perfect. When you see people on the edge of the screen looking off in a direction that you can't see, it works so well because there's no lead space there. Because normally when you see somebody looking, you can see what they're looking at. You can't in this, and it works so well. One excellent example of this is in this restaurant they're sitting at. You see them walk in and sit down at this booth, but you can't even see the booth. And it just feels so cool. Like, I'm not sure if it necessarily had a whole lot to do with the film. I'm sure it did. It kind of felt cluttered and, like, tight. So that's kind of, I figured that's probably what he was going for. But it just felt super stylish and really cool. Ethan Hawke and Amanda Seyfried is really good, and they're both just fantastic in this film. Ethan Hawke is an underrated actor, in my opinion. I love him. He's brilliant. I'm excited to see what he does in Moon Knight. I've seen 2 episodes so far. Very good show, so I'm excited to see where that goes. And this is just, this is my favorite role I think I've seen him in since, like, Before Sunrise. Like, I really like him as this character. And he just brings this, like, depth to it and, like, complicatedness, really, because this could be an easy film to make. It's so easy to just tear them apart and say, okay, this guy's just an outsider looking in on this, you know, kind of church that's being bad and, you know, whatever. But it's way more layers to that, and it's really cool. Again, I think this is my favorite A24 film. Hot Summer Nights might beat it, but, like, it's close. I also love The Witch. It's complicated. One of these days I'll do a ranking of A24 when I finish them all. But this one is definitely a contender for the top. It is such a brilliant film. If you haven't seen it, I truly recommend you should do it. It's probably on Showtime, but my boss let me borrow it on Blu-ray. Look at this. That's such a cool cover. I need to get a copy of this. It's excellent. You should definitely check it out if you haven't already. But I'm going to go ahead and give First Reformed an A. Have you guys seen First Reformed? Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about it. I think it's just a really good, complicated movie. I think some moviegoers will be kind of refracted from it. I think people are just not going to want to see it if they haven't already, just because it's got, you know, Christianity stuff in it, and it also is a more complicated film than most general audiences are willing to sit through. So I think that's definitely a concern. But I absolutely love this film, and I recommend you check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. If you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so. It helps me out a whole lot. And check out my podcast. Me and my friend Nate are doing a podcast. It's called Nate and Robert STS. There's links in the description below. So click those if you're interested in just listening to me talk for an hour. And thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, keep watching movies and television. Stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.